academy, finished the academy, went to spring, shift 7. And you know, when Daryl and I went to shift 7 back in the day, it was interesting. And we were, you know, 2 rookies, and you know, we went out there with ETO and trying to get things done. And you know, one day got pulled aside by someone, and by a senior officer, and this officer said, "Hey, you guys hang in there." I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, you know, they're trying to get with you, right?" What? So, you know, the word was is that, you know, Daryl and I were supposed to get the boot, but, you know, I pulled Daryl to the side and told him that, you know, because basically, you know, we thought we were doing fine with the deal, but apparently we weren't as popular as some of the other officers in the station. But Daryl and I made it, and you know, I had a lot of respect for Daryl because, like Eric said, you know, when you're out on the road, you know who you can trust. And Daryl was one of the people that I knew I could trust in running calls. And so once we finished FTO, you know, we get our assignments, and like Eric said, you know, he and Daryl were working George 1 car, so that was the power car on the shift. And anything that happened in George 1, you knew they handled it. When they called out and needed backup, you knew something was going wrong in George 1. So they ran George 1. But one night, Eric called out sick. Eric, I don't know if he called out sick or if he was on vacation. But, so, and we're working a night shift. So we go in at 8 o'clock at night, and our acting sergeant was her first week on, Corporal Eileen O'Hara. So I go in roll calls and say, "Ed, Eric's not coming in tonight. You're gonna ride George 1 with Daryl." So I'm like, "Okay." Now, this was back in the day before we had computers and everything. And basically, you know, our reports were handwritten. Well, see, I was the type of person that, you know, I take my notes, and then, you know, when we had downtime, you know, when there was downtime, I take my time and I write out my reports. Well, this night I'm working George 1, you know, when I find out riding George 1, you know, Daryl is George 1, okay? So, it's his car. I wasn't allowed to drive. Okay, because it's his call. So I'm like, okay, fine. So, you know, we're running our calls, and we handle our business, you know. We figure out, okay, I'll write this report, you write that report, da 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 da. So it's around 2:30 in the morning, and we say, okay, let's hook up with another officer, and we'll try to get some drunks. So we called another officer called Mike Holliday. Mike Holliday's gonna meet us on New Hampshire Avenue, because Mike ran radar, right? Back then it was radar. So Mike ran radar, and we're gonna meet Mike on New Hampshire Avenue. And so we pulled to the parking lot, and I'm in the passenger seat. You know, Mike wasn't there yet, because they were just clearing the call. So I knew we had time. And you know, so I put my clipboard on the dashboard, and I'm going through my notebook, and you know, Daryl sitting in the driver's seat. Then, within a matter of seconds, they dispatch a call to Mike Holliday. So I'm like, okay, well, at time Mike's going to be running this call. So I'm still going through my notes. All of a sudden, car's thrown in drive, and he takes off. I'm like, wait, where are we going? He whips a right turn, turning out to New Hampshire Avenue. My clipboard goes sliding across the dashboard, locks into the steering wheel,
Oh.
He can't turn. We whip around, right turn, up onto the curb, and up against the Pepco pole. Both of us. And we end up on the side. So once the cars come to a stop, it takes a couple of seconds, we ask each other, you all right? Yeah, you all right? Yeah. How am I gonna call out with this? I'm not calling out with this. So it's like, how bad is it? So you get out the car, I'm like, I don't know. We gotta call out. So we spent 5 minutes arguing back and forth. You gonna call out with this? I'm not calling out with you. You were driving. So we go back and forth. So I'm like, okay, look. I was like, I'm calling out with it. You're gonna have to tell what happened. All right. So 7 George 1. 7 George 1. And I'm trying to figure out how to best say this without like everyone on the road figuring out that, you know, pull us out with a flat tire on New Hampshire Avenue. We had you know, the corporal come by. So Eileen O'Hare drives up, she gets out her cruiser, she's like, what happened? So I'm like, oh man, this is her first week on the ship, she's gonna transfer one of us. So, long story short, you know, we got out of that safe. Needless to say, that was the last night I worked George 1 with Derek. He was held at fault for the accident. I was a contributing factor as my filter. Of course, by this being an official document, you know, that information had to be listed in the report. But Daryl, it's been a pleasure. You know, it was great working with him down in Silver Spring the first time. I had the pleasure of working with Daryl when he came up to community outreach. You know, that was the first time in many years I had a chance to work with Daryl. You know, I went out with Daryl and Jake on the details and when they did their school presentations, and I saw the commitment that Daryl and Jake had in talking to the kids. It wasn't just a situation where they'd go give a presentation on drugs or give a presentation on gangs. Daryl and Jake learned these kids by name, knew what their problems were, and they got to them. They got across to them. And that was commitment, dedication, professionalism that Daryl Marshall had as a police officer. And I wish we had more like him. So,
I don't drink, kid.
okay, of course. You told me to drink. This is from Officer Daryl Marshall Sr., Silver Spring, 7 George 1.
Mom.
Hi. Hereby known to all that congratulations offered to POP Daryl Marshall Sr. in recognition of your 26 years of dedicated service from Montgomery County Department of Police.
Maddie.
So